45 or so minutes. I want to switch gears a little bit. You know we love to talk combat sports on the air. You know we love to talk boxing. We're going to switch it up. A little bare knuckle boxing, a little BYB Extreme, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out what these guys are doing, you can catch all the events, the latest events on their YouTube channel. You can search BYB Extreme Fighting Series. They got a huge fight September 11th down there in Miami. And my guy, Coty Travis, kind enough to join us on this Wednesday to break it down. Coty, he's everything. He's a man that wears many hats. And I found out, too, it sounds like he's an SEC guy as well. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, roll tide, roll tide.
Well, we'll get to that because I know you got thoughts on Jalen Hurts in a second. But I appreciate you jumping on board for a couple moments. And this is really unique. And I'm just curious to start. What is separating you guys, in your estimation and opinion, from, say, other promoters out there that are basically trying to put on the same type of events when it comes to bare knuckle boxing?
Well, what Mike Vasquez, the owner of BYB, what he's done is he's built, for instance, White Boy Rodriguez. He's fighting the main event. White Boy, he came up from the backyard before it was legal. He is 14-1 altogether with it being legal and non-legal in their backyard. So they're building their fighters up as they're going. They don't bring too many big names in. They've got a guy named Green on this card. It's his first fight. He had 7 fights in the UFC. But the way Mike and them are doing it, they're trying to build their fighters and grow their fighters, and they're building their personalities and stuff. So I feel like they're, instead of trying to go out and get the big names just to do it, they're building as they're going.
Yeah, it's a fair point. In-house, and you mentioned Rodriguez, Rene Rodriguez taking on Escoboza. That'll be the BYB Cruiserweight Championship. And again, this event is going to be September 11th down there in Miami. I think one of the fights that I'm interested in, Isaiah Quinones, by the way, no relation against Stitt in the light heavy. And this kid's backstory, Quinones' backstory, I mean, this is a kid that has that boxing background, that pedigree, has knockout power. We saw it in his last fight against Trujillo with that one-punch knockout, but he was also homeless for a couple years. I mean, those are the kind of stories that I think will make fans gravitate not only to the sport, the promotion, but at the end of the day, the fighter. And they're going to follow these guys, correct?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm a big sports person. I've been to UFC events. I've been to boxing. I've been to Bama games when they're playing Auburn, you know, crazy stuff. And the atmosphere that BYB brings, and I've been to the other bare knuckle arenas and stuff, their fans are more like SEC, and also I would say like England soccer fans. They love like at the end when they had that really crazy double knockdown when White Boy and Matt knocked each other down, and then it ended in a crazy fashion. One of the referee, Clancy, he's a legend. They had to escort the arena out before he could leave there. Yeah. They were doing cans in this. They were doing cans. I got in with a can. I jumped in the crowd with the people. It was awesome. That's how much they loved it. So the atmosphere is kind of different than any fight I've ever been to.
That's interesting. Yeah, Bill Clancy, he's been all over the place. So on this card, what fight do you believe can potentially be the fight of the night that stands out?
I'm going to tell you right now, this is crazy, but at the beginning of the card, Joe Mack, for instance, he's got 2 fighters at the beginning. Gabriel, he's fighting Kelly. Gabriel, the last fight, he finished his guy and everything. Gabriel's tough. He's a former Army Airborne rank. You know, he's tough. He's stout. Kelly's a stout guy. That could be a good fight. Then you got J.D. Burns. This kid, they call him the Joker. He has purple hair. He smiles. His last fight, this is the coolest story, was supposed to be at 170. He usually fights at 155. The guy came in 11 pounds overweight at 181. They said, we'll scrap it. He said, no, man, I came here to fight. I flew all the way from Washington. And BYB, they don't have the 3 knockdown rule or anything. He kept getting knocked down. And in bare knuckle, if you get knocked down in a round in the state of Florida, it's automatic 10-8 unless you knock them down.
Okay.
So he was losing the fight to a guy that was 11 pounds bigger than him, huge, and he knocked him out at the end and finished it. So I would say J.D. Burns, an Archer fight, would be a great fight. And then you got Jordan Ironman Mitchell, another Joe Mack guy. These are just the first, 3 or 4 cards. I'm going to tell you right now, every fight last time, besides one fight was amazing.
Yeah, the one thing that I like that's interesting, right, the trigon, right? So you're basically cutting the ring in half, which for me, a boxing guy, right, a boxing purist, I'm like, all right, here we go. Now we got the triangle, so there's not a lot of room. If I'm going to try to cut off the ring, if I can step up in the center, I'm good to go. But, man, look out. If I start to take a step back, that's all she wrote. I'm finding myself in the corner. And that's where he gets the dirty boxing, and that's where that's when the action really starts to come alive.
Yeah, Paulie, he fought in bare knuckle for another organization, and now he's one of the announcers. Him and Mike Goldberg, from a UFC commentator, their announcing team is amazing. It's top notch. And he says it best, as a boxer, you roll the ropes. There's nowhere to go. If you ride the ropes, you're riding it right back into the center of the ring.
Yeah. Hey, let's not forget about my guy Benny Ricardo. Come on, let's give it a little.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, their team is top notch. I mean, they got a field goal. They got kickers and stuff on their team.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Benny Ricardo. You got to give a little love to Benny Ricardo. There, kicked at San Diego State. I think it was drafted back in '75. So that's we got to throw that out there as well. Yeah, Paulie, I'll tell you, he sees things because he's such an astute, and he's a student of the game. And again, you're bringing that area of expertise. I mean, for all you guys, for that broadcast team, there's that level of credibility. The production's ridiculous. I've watched a bunch of the fights already. It's just like the entertainment value's off the chart. But I think to have fighters there that get it or have dealt with it, and you mentioned Joe Mack, who's been a bare knuckle. He's a lifer, right? This guy knows the hit. It wouldn't shock me if Joe Mack was fighting in the 1800s. I don't know.
Look, right now, I can tell you right now, Joe was trying to fight somebody last year. I mean, he literally tried to. I mean, Joe's like 58. He tried to cut weight. I mean, look, we were down there at this last event, and somebody was trying to fight with one of his fighters, and I thought Joe was going to kill him.
I mean, how's the reception been? It seems like it's a wild atmosphere, and the fans are really enjoying it. And is that because you basically have the fact that it's a bunch of action, right? First and foremost, it seems as though that Mike wants these fights and the event to be action-packed first and foremost.
Yes. I mean, because I jumped in the track. It was crazy. If you get inside there, if you get in the corner, it's over. For the fact of, if you put your elbows out, you're touching the sides. There's nowhere to come out. You got to go. Once you get in the corner, they stay in the middle of the ring. That's what's so amazing. They're trying to. You have to stay in the middle of the ring, or you're in trouble. So it's intense the whole time.
Yeah, it does. It has that backyard street brawl, right? Where there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. It's settled. Fighting the phone booth, that's your best shot. That's your best chance. Are there any rules? Like if there's a novice, if someone's going to the event, say in Florida in September in Miami, or they're going to watch on the YouTube channel, what are a couple things that you would say for a beginning viewer they might not understand, like a little crash course? What kind of separates from other combat sports?
Well, first off, it's not just boxing, there's a clinch, like you were saying earlier. So, I mean, as long as right now, the referees are learning as they go. They say if the clinch is, as long as it's active, but sometimes they still break it up. I mean, like Clancy, he'll say it. That was probably one of his worst performances of his life, the Trigon, for the fact of, as a referee, you have to be in the right position because it can be over in a second. Like, for instance, that Isaiah, the knockout of the night the other night, you were talking about him earlier, the referee actually tripped that guy. Go back and watch it. He tripped the guy. The guy was falling backwards when he hit him. The referee was in the wrong spot. So, but if I was a fan, there's a clinch. The rounds are 3 minutes, just like anywhere else. If there's no women's on this card, women are 2 minutes.
Okay.
There's going to be 5 rounds. If it's a championship, it goes to 7 rounds. And like, for instance, Christina Stanley, everybody, if I was anybody, if you want to see the best fight, you probably see like a true war. It happened 135-pound weight class, Christina Stanley against Patty. And they went 7 2-minute rounds, and they beat the living crap. And they could have went 15. And at the end of the fight, they got a standing ovation like Van Damme did in Bloodsport. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You're talking about Patricia Juarez, right?
Yes. Because she was an underdog. This is the truth of the matter. Nobody wanted to fight Stanley because Stanley is just finishing everybody. And she said, I'll take the fight. And she came in as a massive underdog. And she beat the 135 fighter in the world. She's the best in the world now. But they also...
Just real quick, I was curious because I called a couple of her fights a while back. Do you guys, is Josette Cotton, is she still on the active roster, so to speak?
Oh yeah, I love her. She fought the last fight. She fought Aaron Shuttle. Aaron was a former American Gladiator on that show back in the day. They fought at 168, and she beat her in split decision. It was a very good fight. It could have got fighter than I.
No, she's got a very good. She's well-rounded. I mean, again, if need be, obviously it's really just predominantly the stand-up game. But I've seen her in mixed martial arts. She's extremely well-rounded. How many fights are going to be on this card in Miami in September?
I was looking at it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We put them on the spot.
11. There should be 11. There should be 11. There should be exactly 11. I was going to also say, a lot of people, if they're looking at the fight and they're watching and they're trying to bare knuckle, the one thing different about bare knuckle than boxing MMA, if a fighter comes out and you notice they're swinging as hard as they can right off the bat, there's a good chance they're going to break their wrist. Somebody that knows bare knuckle, you can't throw as hard as you can for the fact of if you hit that forehead or something, so it's a little different how they strike. There's a lot of stoppages for bleeding and stuff. More than knockouts, you'll see a lot of people going for cuts, like hitting the eye and stuff and trying to get a lot of blood.
Does anyone want to mess with 6'3", 275-pound Dada over there? Dada 5000? Anyone?
Hey, check this out. This is the coolest thing. They're finishing the Netflix series Dogfight. It's finishing. They don't know how they're going to end it yet. But Dada's healthy, and he wanted to fight one more time. And he promised, he told me, and he's been saying that, he's going to try to fight on their December card. I don't know if they're going to make sure he's healthy because he's actually saying he's going to be in shape, not like the Kimbo stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he's probably going to fight. And I'm going to tell you what, he's one of the most intelligent, coolest guys you ever meet in your life.
Yeah, he seems like a really humble guy. I mean, probably not a dude you want to mess with in the alley at 6'3", 275, but still, you might be able to talk your way out of it.
After we left the last fight, it was cool. I was walking through the casino. We had Mike, the president. We had the head Seminole tribe person there. We had Dada. We had a couple of fighters. We had Jay from Turf House Farm. That's one of my main sponsors, and that's who sponsors the brawler, the BYB brawler channel now. We were walking to the casino, and if you would have seen everybody looking, they were probably like, who the heck is that idiot right there standing with all those cool people?
I would be remiss, too, if I didn't give a plug to my man, Mel V, out there in California.
Oh, dude, I was going to say, no, I had it on my little list. Hands down, he's connected with us, De La Hoya and them. He helps with their matchmaking, some of their stuff.
Yeah.
His mentors, his matcher. Mel, I'm going to tell you right now, the only bad fight the last card happened. I felt like I had something to do because both of those fighters on that fight was the ones I gave to Mel, and it was the worst fight. So I'm gonna say Mel is probably one of the best matchmakers at picking. Or he don't pick. There's no, like he said the other night. There's no ache side, even though that says it. He tries to pick it where they're equal.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to hold it against him. He's a Dodgers fan. I'm a Yankees fan. We go back and forth. We have in the past. That's okay. He's got his own problems. He's got to worry about the San Francisco Giants. I'll give him that. But, yeah, he's a heck of a matchmaker. So now people can watch the events live on the YouTube channel, which I see gets a ridiculous amount of views. That's all in real time, correct?
Yes, everything. See, they did a pay-per-view a few times. And this is the one thing about Mike. And he's a genius at what he does. He said, I would rather give it to people free on YouTube and keep growing the awareness to it, let more people see it, instead of doing a pay-per-view where you're paying $19 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be streamed. You'll see Mike Goldberg. You'll see Paul. You'll see all the cool stuff on there and everything. So, yeah, live on YouTube.
Yeah, and again, everyone can go to the YouTube channel. If you go to the website, BYBExtreme.com, right to your right, dynamic leave on the home page, it says catch latest events, YouTube channel. And that's going to be September 11th in Miami at the Hard Rock, correct?
Yes, and the weigh-ins, no, it's not at the Hard Rock. It's at the, it's at the James Knight Center. It's the same place they're having the big celebrity. It's at the James L. Knight Center, Miami.
Okay.
The doors open at 7. And like I said, if you look at it, if you're in Florida, tickets are, reasonable. They're very good because he wants to get people there.
Sure.
The atmosphere is amazing. But if you can't, you check it out on YouTube. We'll be doing live coverage there. We'll be jumping in the crowd, I'm going to get in there with those people. I love that stuff. And I was like, dude, I got to get in that crowd and interview the people, have people, I had some stuff I can't say on the other 9-year-old kids are saying to me. I'm serious. There was this little girl that was talking about this fighter, and I was like, her mama looked at me and she said, yeah, that's what we think. And I was like, wow. And, it was so we're going to hop up in the crowd. We're going to do some backstage cool interviews, but we're going to be doing poolside interviews during the week. We'll have a cool weigh-in show. And but that'll be on the BYB Brawler Network on YouTube. But it also will be streamed live on BYB's Facebook page, on the BYB Brawler by Turbo's Facebook page. So if you see BYB, you'll see our stuff.
All right. Now, most important before I let you get out of here, give me your scouting report on Jalen Hurts for our Philadelphia Eagles listening audience. Can this kid lead this team this year, even though questionable offensive line, he's got a couple weapons? What's your thoughts on Hurts?
Look, I'm a diehard Bama fan, and when he was at Bama, he's a one read. He's going to look at that one read. He's going to check, and he's going to run. And when he went to Oklahoma, he did the same thing, but they didn't play defense, so he got the rush for 1,900 yards. Just like last year, what did he complete, 37% of his passes or something, 42 or something like that?
4 games, though, sample size, right? I think they probably want to read more, read options and get his legs to kind of do some things. He's a great guy, great character, great team leader. He's got he checks all the whistles, but he's afraid to push the ball. That's why Tua came in as a freshman in that game, is because Jalen is afraid to push the ball down the field, and he's afraid to do that. And he's still, until he proves that he's not afraid to throw the ball, and force it, he's going to check down to the running back where he's going to run. Do we even want to mention Alabama this year or no?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's the same thing, man. Look, I got another guy, Bryce Young, man. Look, until Saban leaves, and look, at Alabama right now, he's the starting quarterback right now at the University of Alabama. Has not played us down. He's already making $1.1 million. How easy it is to recruit now. You don't even know if you're the starter yet and you can make a meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what? Let's be honest, too. Look at their first. Who do they open against? Mercer?
Yeah, no, they open Miami. It's Miami.
Okay.
It is they open Miami. It's Mike Vasquez is the owner of BYB, and he's Miami guy and all that stuff. We're going to have a bet tonight on the show. But, they go with Miami, and then I think they got them later, and then it don't really matter.
No, they got Mercer that second week. Then they got Florida Southern Miss. Okay, Miami, Mercer, Florida, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, maybe LSU. The game to circle is going to be the LSU game in November. And the Auburn game.
It. And they don't know who their quarterback is because the guy they thought was going to be the quarterback, he's hurt now, and they're going to start the guy that was a freshman that played last year now. So LSU's still on it. And also LSU's making that new thing where you have to be vaccinated or tested coming in, so they might not have as many people in the crowd as they think they're going to have now. Fans are kind of pissed off about that.
So will you put some shekels on Alabama to win it all before the season starts? That's the big question.
Look, I'm going to tell you what. Since Nick Saban's been there, they've won it 50% of the time. And every year I've bet $100. And
not bad.
And 50% of the time I've made my money. So you see what I'm saying? So I got a 50-50 shot, seriously. Think about it. How crazy is that?
Yeah. I actually read a stat on the air with Baltimore because they've lost 19 games in a row. If you took $100 and you rode that 19-game winning streak and invested everything into it, you'd have right now $200,000.
I'm going to tell you this right here. This is something a lot of people want to say. Last year, everybody was down on Tua. I'm going to say this. They were down. He broke his hip the year before, had no preseason last year. He should have not even played last year. You remember going into the thing, they said he would sit out the whole season and get back from his hip. Everybody that I've talked to, and I was down in Miami a few weeks ago, trust me, I was hounding the Dolphin stuff. They said he looks good. He's healthy. He's back to normal. He's gained a lot of muscle. I'm going to tell you, this is year two. Usually year two, that's when somebody peaks out of nowhere. Don't sleep on Tua this year.
Here's the problem. They messed with him a little bit last year because of Fitzpatrick, right? They kept pulling him. That's what Flores was doing. They opened on the road against New England, Buffalo, Vegas, Indianapolis, and Tampa Bay. That's a tough stretch, man.
Yeah, check this out, though. Nick Saban's got a great recruiting pitch right here. Opening game against New England, both of his guys will be the quarterbacks because Cam's going to miss all this time for COVID. So they're going to play a rookie Mac Jones against Tua. That's going to be the opening game. Think about that. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know what? That might be a game I would probably maybe bet the under if it's two young guys going at it, but I don't know. I like Tua. I'm a fan of Tua. I think I like what the kid stands for. I think he can be a nice player. I'll tell you who I'm really high on, man, is Trevor Lawrence. I think this kid's going to be a great quarterback. He already got the nod. They said he's going to start week 1.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, the one thing about, who he reminds me of Sam Donald. For the fact that, I'm going to tell you, and I said this about Sam and my buddy, and to this day, look, Jim Bob Cooter, he's one of my good friends. He was the running back coach. I went to high school with him. He was running back coach for the Jets. He was with the Colts and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So he was, and all the different things. Trevor Lawrence, he's been the guy from day one since he was in high school and everything. And he did good his freshman year when he played against Bama his freshman year, when he had no expectations. But since then, he's always lost a few games, and he likes to talk a little bit like LeBron into the media a little bit. So a lot of people says his commitment level. They question his commitment level because he's kind of 6'6", perfectly looking like as a quarterback, So does he want it as bad as some people?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, he's when you got the flowing locks like that, I can appreciate a good head of hair. I mean, it's just got to train.
Urban, man. He's just Urban like that. You think about it. Urban's liable to quit halfway through the season with a, he's quit 2 times.
Yeah.
When Saban beat him, he had a heart attack. He couldn't play no more. And then when he went, and then he had Ohio State after all that happened.
It's the line,
he had the.
Cody, it's the line. If that offensive line doesn't keep him upright, it's going to be a disaster. That's it.
And they lost their running back.
Yeah, they lost their running back. All right. I'm going to have to get you on college football. You might have to be my SEC handicapper.
Oh, dude, I tell you, I gamble a lot in SEC, and that's what we were.
Here's the problem.
I can tell you right now, the team. If I was gonna bet a little money on this year, just for the fact of every week Ole Miss plays this week. This year I would bet the over. Every game, I would bet the over because Lane with his guy, he's got his guy coming in second year. They're gonna score more points than anybody this year.
All right, I'm holding you to it. The problem is when my listening audience, they're like elephants. They never forget. So they might come to collect 10% of losses if we can't.
Hey, look, I mean, just look at it. Last year, until he had a 6-interception game and a 5, he only threw one. He averaged 300 and I think it was like 50 yards a game. His first time to ever start. And the only team to play Alabama closely last year was Ole Miss.
That's right.
So that's it, man. But yeah,
great stuff. Outstanding stuff. I appreciate it. We will definitely tune in September 11th, and you guys have fun out there, man. Be safe and put on some good fights, and hopefully look forward to seeing you guys maybe sometime down the road.
Yeah, check us out tonight on their Facebook page and all that stuff because we have Mike Goldberg on our first episode of their official podcast. So Goldberg's on and the president. So we'll be talking about a lot of UFC history and crap like that too. So
what time is that?
Check it out.
Do you guys have the time for that yet? Did you post?
Oh, yeah. It comes tonight, 7:30 Central. It starts. Mike Goldberg, he'll be on about 7:35 Central.
All right, brother. I appreciate a couple moments, pal.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
All right. You got it. There you have it. A little potpourri. That's good stuff. Cody's well-rounded, man. That's good stuff. We talking a little bare knuckle. Then we got a little Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's an Alabama guy. Can you tell? My goodness. Little SEC. Start talking a little Tua. I wrote that down, by the way. The Ole Miss over. He knows college football. I'm going to hold him to it. 528.